Hello everybody, my name is Dratnos and welcome to Mythic Lady Jaina Proudmoore, so the last boss of Battle of dazar'alor. This is our kill video with my commentary. So the fight this is such a cool fight. There's so many cool things going on here. It starts off on this boat, on this horde boat that Jaina's come and is trying to stop you from pursuing her as she's leaving dazar'alor after having killed the king of the Zandalari. And this first phase lasts until she gets down to 60%, 60.5% to be precise. And it begins, it's the easiest part of the fight, but it still kills people, and there are difficult overlaps that can happen. There's a little bit of RNG. Patterns can happen in random ways, and some of them are pretty difficult to deal with. The Avalanche Mechanic is what you're seeing here. She shoots out at 3 random players, these avalanche projectiles, and if those touch, if you stay where they are aiming, you're going to take pretty serious damage and get stacks of Chilling Touch. Now, Chilling Touch stacks aren't a huge deal in this first phase because you can remove them by standing in the fire, and they stack up due to a lot of different mechanics. Like you can see there, that Grasp of Frost on me that got dispelled. Every time that ticks on you, that causes Chilling Touch as well. There are also these boats that come up along both sides of the Horde boat here. There are Alliance boats that will come and attack you, and you need to shoot them down with these ballistas on both sides. And the ballistas can get interacted with. They can get either frozen by Jaina, she'll just randomly freeze some and you need to DPS through them, or they can get set on fire if there's fire that lands underneath them, and either of those will render them unusable. You need to shoot the boats and keep the ballistas freed up so that you can keep shooting the boats as they come by. While those boats are active, they will launch cannons at the Horde ship, and that's not awful in and of itself, but it does mean that if you stand on where those cannonballs are going to land, you can get knocked in weird directions. And if that does happen during some of the other mechanics of this fight, it can be really problematic and you can die pretty easily. You can get knocked off the boat. Otherwise, you can see here that it's happening right now. We're getting cannon shots from a Kultiran boat and we need to dodge. But if that happens during a Ring of Ice, for instance, which happens when she reaches 100 energy, that's really bad. Now, when she does reach 100 energy, which is about to happen, the next thing she's going to do is going to be a Ring of Ice, and you need to get outside of the ring in order to not get turned into an ice block. If you are within that ring, you will get turned into an ice block, and that's really bad. Another mechanic that's always in play here for the whole fight on Mythic is there's this blizzard that kind of ramps up in intensity. You can see it in this little blue bar towards the bottom of my screen. Once that reaches full, you're going to get your vision impaired, and the blizzard intensity will be at its maximum effect. When the blizzard is at 0 intensity, you only need to be near one of your friends, but as that gets higher and higher up, you need to be near more and more people, so 3 people and then 5 people when the blizzard's at maximum intensity. And if you're not near that many people, you'll get this little blue circle around you, and if you stay not near people for the duration of the 6 seconds that lasts, you'll get turned into an ice block. So that's really bad. You need to avoid that happening. So once you're done with this first phase here, she'll transition to this first intermission, and now she's going out to the middle of the ocean and she's freezing up this new arena for you to fight in, and you have to go and get to her. But automatically the blizzard will turn to high intensity until you're done with this intermission. So you have this limited vision thing. You can't target things more than 15 yards away from you. You can't see them as well. And what happens is there are these 5 icebound images that spawn around the map, and then Jaina also teleports to one of 5 different possible positions. And hunters can actually track humanoids to see where that is. And based on where she is, we make a different call that splits our group up in different numbers on each side. So if she's all the way on the left, for instance, we'll send the whole group around on the right and kill all the ads along this way. As it was this way, you can see we killed 2 ads on the left-hand side here, and then there were 3 on the right-hand side. We sent a bigger group to the right to go and kill those. And then as soon as they're all gone, you can interrupt Jaina herself. So I use my Cloak of Shadows, I sprint, and I'm the person who's assigned to kick her because I have access to Cloak of Shadows. Now we get into Phase 2. In Phase 2, things start getting a lot more hectic. The only way that you can remove your stacks of Chilling Touch, which slowly stack up over time for the rest of this fight, is by killing these unexploded ordnances. And once you do that, they will turn into these nice warm circles where you can drop stacks and be immune to stacks for a couple seconds. But if you stay in this for too long, the ordnance will explode and kill you. You'll see I have a nice little weak aura to track that. And once that's done, we all move out of here. And then we need to use these broadsides to open up these ordinances. So broadsides like this dot, and when it expires, it leaves the little cannon explosion on you, on where you were, and you need to actually hit the unexploded ordnance with those. Now Glacial Ray is coming out. If you stand in that, you're going to die. But you can bait it before it comes out. A couple seconds before it casts, it picks where it's going to target, so you need to be standing in a good spot. And we usually try to bait all of our Glacial Rays right towards the wall. Then there's the Siegebreaker Blast, which do a pretty serious amount of damage. On Mythic, you need to be a little bit careful if you get Siegebreaker Blast, because if you run out too early, you're going to get frozen, right? Because you need to be near your friends in order to not get frozen for the entirety of the Mythic fight here. You can see here we had a tank get frozen because the tanks just get frozen by the tank mechanic. But it's okay because we clear it with the unexploded ordnance here, so it's actually part of our plan, is for a tank to get frozen right there and then to get it broken by the ordnance there. So now we've used 2 of the 3 ordnances. This phase ends when the boss reaches 30%. So now our goal is going to be to go to that last ordnance. It still hasn't been broken yet, so we're going to need to drop a broadside on it. And you can see there, the Avalanche always targets the tank in this phase. It targets the active tank. And we send our tank over there to run it away, but the tank actually needs to go with our Demon Hunter. Our Demon Hunter runs with the tank when they're cut off by the Icefall like that across the middle of the room, so that the tank doesn't get frozen, right? Because again, you always need a friend near you on Mythic. All right, so the Icefall is another thing we haven't talked about. That's when there's this like huge patch of ice thing that lands, that goes from one side of the room to the other. That can be a really annoying part of this fight. It's RNG where it spawns, and there can be spawns that are very problematic. So we have people whose job it is to look out for those and call it out and tell us how to move in order to not get owned by the Icefall. All right, so now we're killing the final barrel of the fight, the final ordnance. Once this is done, there's no way for us to drop stacks now, except for there's a brief spot where stacks will drop in the intermission just because they don't get cast for a little while. So stacks are ramping up. We're in this blizzard now. We're moving a little bit to the side here because there's an Icefall that's going to be coming over to our left that somebody's called. And you can see here I'm just refreshing my dots on Jaina. I'm getting ready to use my full set of cooldowns to help take down this wall, because as soon as she gets to 30.5%, it's go time. Now we're attacking the wall of ice. I'm putting all my cooldowns in here. The reason that I'm spending my cooldowns on this wall is that allows us, if you can look at our range players at the bottom of my screen, they're actually DPSing Jaina right now. This is when we Bloodlust as well. Normally on this fight, as soon as you Bloodlust, Jaina gets ice blocked, but if you Bloodlust during this part, she's channeling something else instead and she won't ice block. So this is a way for us to get value from Bloodlust and actually use it to DPS Jaina. And if you look at Jaina's health, we've done like 5% of her health and damage here during this intermission. By having our ranged players attacking that and by using Bloodlust and cooldowns like mine on the wall. Now what we're doing is we're just waiting for this Chilling Touch dot that's on us. Once it gets to between 4 and 6 seconds, we're going to finish off the Ice Block Nathanos, and that will cause it to fall off, and we'll not have Chilling Touch stacks going to the last phase here. So we stop Nathanos there. Nathanos then gets rid of that, and we have a Hunter whose job it is to immediately kick Jaina before she casts too much Arcane Barrage. And you can see here the ad also has a number above its head. Basically, there's an interruptible cast, and my job is to kick it every time that number is 2, and the ad is doing a cast. Now this first Orb of Frost comes out, and our job is everybody is going to soak that and get rid of it. And then we have these Hearts of Frost going out, and when somebody gets Heart of Frost, that only targets ranged players, they need to go stand outside of the raid, and that's what they're doing here. There's a very tight movement phase here. Now there's a Prismatic Image, and what's going to happen soon is there's going to be a Glacial Ray that comes out from both Jaina and the Prismatic Image. You can see we're baiting our entire raid on one side of both Jaina and the Prismatic Image, so as soon as that Glacial Ray cast happens, we can just run through both of them, and we're going to be completely safe. So that's coming soon. And we're just mostly focusing on just continuing to DPS the boss. People with Heart of Frost are getting out. There are the Glacial Rays. They both targeted somebody over on that side, and we were all able to move to this side, and the Rays aren't going to be a problem for us. Now one very problematic thing is about to come out, and that's the Icefall. So the Icefalls are now coming out, and you can see here there's the indicator for one of them near the bottom right of the screen, and we're safe this time. On this pull, we're safe. We're safe staying right where we are. A lot of pulls will get completely scuffed because you're not safe and you have to move, and that can be a disaster, but you can see those Icefalls are going, and they're not hitting us. Now we're just continuing to DPS the boss, continuing to kick Jaina's Tide Elemental. My job is, of course, to kick it every time it says number 2, so like right now, you can see that was my kick there. And we're just going to keep DPSing the boss until she gets down to 5%, 5.5%, and that's the end of this fight. Nothing to it. No use of battle reses there. We just used 2 Ankh Totems. Very clean kill. This was actually a rank 1 execution parse at the time for kills here. You can see the chat's going crazy. It was a really good time. It took us 373 pulls, which is a lot of pulls, before we could get her down, but eventually we did, and it felt really, really good at the time. Kind of reliving the memories now, looking back at this. But yeah, I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope you learned something about the Mythic Jaina fight, particularly if you're about to progress on it yourself. I'll be in the comments if you have any questions about anything that you just saw there. And yeah, good luck with this fight for yourself. I really enjoyed it. I think it was a great fight, and I'm really glad that Blizzard was able to design such a great last boss fight. It felt so cinematic as well, like the fact that like the phases are like you going to different areas and like it tells a story. Really, all in all, just an excellent encounter. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.